Welcome to week 4. Guys, we're almost halfway through. I am excited about what I'm seeing. I'm seeing improvement already. Continue to be diligent in all that you are doing. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to email me and let me know. One thing that I am adding to the discussion board this week is one where you can bring your academic questions on academic formatting or anything that pertains to this research paper process or any of the assignments for that matter. What I'm finding is if there are questions and more than one person has them, and this way I'm able to answer you. Anyone is able to come in and be able to see not only the questions but the answers as well. And so this also promotes that online community that is so very important, especially on online classes, so you don't feel so alone. You are not alone, and we are here to help one another and uplift one another. As I've been reading through your assignments, I felt like it was necessary that I need to clarify some information with you guys, so bear with me. Hopefully this fills in some holes, and if you have any questions, again, please do not hesitate to let me know. On academic, as I said before, there are really 3 major academic formats that are out there. The first is MLA, and there's APA and Chicago. MLA, typically you'll see that with English or regular humanities, but education courses as well. APA, I probably wrote the majority of my papers through my education courses in APA. Also social sciences and sciences will utilize APA. It's American Psychological Association, so you can imagine that's probably why you would see a lot of that sociology as well. Chicago is typically for history majors. It could be art history or the regular history classes that you will be in, but they typically lean towards that. There is a Caribbean that is also out there, but you do not see that as much. What I do want you to know is that PurdueOwl.com is an excellent resource for you guys. It's PurdueOwl.com. This has the most updated information that you can find, so regardless of what class that you have after mine or during this class, you're able to utilize this source for you guys, okay? Couple things as we are starting on the research process and looking at some of the things that we're writing and how we're formatting. I felt like it was necessary to clarify. I've already uploaded an APA packet. This is a packet that I've created for students that I've been teaching these past few years. It goes right along with a research paper and how to set it up in APA format. It walks through in a Word document, what are you clicking on, how are you actually setting up the running header, how are you setting up the body, the reference page, the cover page, how do we do abstracts and that kind of thing. So it really does walk along with that. If you have not had an opportunity to look through that, I strongly encourage you to do so. I will be uploading an MLA. It's not as extensive as the APA packet. It's basically that first page. That's usually really what differentiates the two, and the fact that it's not a reference page, it's a works cited page. But it does show you that there is a difference in the running heads between an MLA document and an APA document. Also, the information that's in the top left-hand corner, and that we need to do a strict double space, which means you need to hit the no spacing button because typically it will be normal. If you leave it on normal, it puts additional lines, and you will be taken off anytime that you hit enter, which means there'll be additional lines in between your paragraphs, and then that information in that top left, there'll be an additional line in that as well. So you want to make sure that you're clicking on no spacing first, and then you set your documents to Times New Roman 12, and then put your line spacing to 2.0. Regardless if it is an MLA document or an APA document, I want all work in Times New Roman 12. So please make sure that you do that. I do realize that MLA, you could use a Calibri, but if you can just get in the habit of Times New Roman 12, it does cross over into your other formats, and then that way you're not going to have to guess. And all 3 of those major formats except Times New Roman 12, and that's really become a standard. So I am going to require that in here. So again, take that time to review that information. And also, again, as you're going through this, if you are needing questions, go to that discussion board, write those in there as well, because what I'm seeing is that there's some discrepancies within this, and there's more than one person that really could benefit from that information. This week and these past couple weeks, we've been talking about these first steps in a research paper. And I cannot stress the importance of finding resources. Yes, a topic is extremely important, but if you do not have quality sources in order to support it, then it's not going to be successful. It's going to become a very arduous process. And so please make sure as you're going through this that it's quality information. This week it talks about sources and what's acceptable and not acceptable. Just a friendly reminder, wikipedia.com, ask.com, blogs are not acceptable for academic papers. Anything that someone can go in and change is not something that's going to be credible. You really want to look at your authors. There are sometimes, especially on those internet sources, if you do not have an author, I'm really going to question that, unless it's something like a Discovery, a History.com, or like National Geographic, a credible site. But typically they're going to have referencing information there. But if you cannot find an author, I really discourage that, because it does take away from some of that credibility. This week, and also what I've been seeing in our papers, remember that when you are writing academically, you must have an introductory paragraph. And that introductory paragraph must include a hook or information that is going to roll into your thesis statement. Thesis statement, remember, is telling the reader what your paper is about. Do not, or please do not say, I am writing about. That is obvious. Obviously you're writing, I'm reading it, I know that you've written something. So please refrain from doing that. Those are tricks that we use when we're teaching elementary and middle school students in order to get their thoughts down on the paper. And if you have to do that in order to get all your thoughts out, great, do it, but go back and edit it out, because we're writing on a different level. This is not only college writing, it is professional writing, and it will not be received well, so please be mindful of that. Also remember, in academic writing across the board, it is third person, which means no first or second. No first person, I, me, mine, us, we, or second person, you. It can only be in third person. So please make sure that you are aware of that. If you need clarification with that, please let me know. Also, you'll find out if you take those personal pronouns out, your writing is stronger and it has a stronger message. Also, within academic writing, no contractions at all. The only time that a personal pronoun or a contraction will be acceptable is if it is in a direct quote. But if it is not, and it is something that you are writing, you need to edit that out. So please be mindful of that. Your credible resources. Please make sure you're able to use encyclopedias, Britannicas, anything that is written on your topic. Which leads me to the fact that this is a 10-page paper. Please do not be overwhelmed by that. You've already gotten at least 6 sources. There's a lot of information that's on your topics. I'm only asking for 10 pages. So please rest in that knowledge. Now, I have finished all of first week grading, and when I was looking at the questions, really, if you only have maybe 5 or 6 questions, I'm going to encourage you to go back and redo that piece of it. You really should have a page of just brainstorming. Don't think about spelling at that time. You're just getting your thoughts down. What I didn't talk about is once you have those questions down, put them in order. Remember that we are logical. We are created for order. And so you want to make sure that you go back through and put it in a chronological order. And when you do that, you will notice that there will be certain breaks within that, where there will be likenesses, and you just draw a line. Basically what you're doing is you are making the first draft of an outline. So go back, if you've not had an opportunity to do that, go back to that first week assignment with your questions on it. Go back and look. If maybe you weren't understanding what I was saying, it's also in the APA packet because it is explained in there. But again, just think about any question that could be asked about your topic. Also, when you're putting things in order, you also want to look, is there something that maybe could be redundant or it's very close? Maybe you need to combine some ideas. So that is a good time to do that as well. But the more questions that you have down, the better it is. Well, now these questions that we've talked about, this is going to help to direct your research. You now have purpose with your research. Again, research can be very overwhelming. But if you have an idea or a direction where to go, this is working smart because now you've already identified some areas. Now, there's one thing in that APA packet that I have not necessarily required, and it's really going to be up to you whether or not you want to utilize that or not, and that's note cards. As you're getting that information, you can fill out a note card. It is 1 fact per card, and make sure that at the bottom of the card you write where you have taken that information from. If you are a visual person, note cards are really cool because then you can put them in the order that they need to be once you have all of your information. You want at least 10 to 20 facts per source in order to make sure that you have enough substance in order to create this 10-page paper. So again, you're looking at it. I do want to reiterate, if you are able to go over 6 sources, but what I'm looking at is the minimum of 3 print and 3 internet. But if you need to go over, that is perfectly okay. But again, those note cards, I do explain that in that APA packet. Again, I would strongly encourage you to read that as well. This week, they're talking about a thesis statement, and I really want to make a distinction between a thesis statement and a topic sentence. Now remember, the thesis statement is about what your whole piece is. What is your paper about? A topic sentence is what your paragraph is about. Everything in a paragraph must relate back to that topic, or it must all work together. If it is anything that is outside of the information that's going to be in a paragraph, you need to take that out and put it in another paragraph. What I'm seeing is we have a lot of thoughts that are going on. Take some time, go through it, move things around. Editing is going to be vital. The best writers are the best editors. So go back and look at your writing. Read it out loud exactly the way that you have it written. And a lot of those errors or they will present themselves. So I strongly encourage you to do that. I know these steps can be a bit arduous at first, but I promise you as you continue to do it, it becomes second nature. And it is so worth it in the end. This is a part of working smart. And so you are maximizing your time, so it's not going to be this huge process. You know, I'm at a place where I can write a 10-page paper, research and all, in probably about a week or less. But I could type out a 10-page paper in 2 days. So, but that's because I've learned how to work smart, and people who know how to organize their information, know exactly what they're looking for, they have purpose with it, you'll be able to get that information a lot quicker. Now notice, now even though your questions are a great place to start, but as you're doing your research, sometimes you'll come across something that's really interesting to you. Write that down as well. You can go off book a little bit, but if you're going to do that, make sure that you include that question or that information in that chronological order of that question outline. Trying to check my notes to see what I have for you guys. Okay, this week you guys are doing an annotated bibliography, and I do want to talk a little bit about this. I know it can be a little daunting. Please do not do that. You guys have already, or should have already, been looking at your resources, and you've been making notes. Basically what the annotated bibliography is that you're going to have your bibliography. Remember that this is APA, so it should have a hanging indent. And then you'll hit enter, and you're going to basically write a paragraph or 2 based on the information that you've extracted from that source. Basically, you're condensing it down and you're summarizing it. Please know that there is a difference between summarizing and retelling. You are giving the main ideas of what this information is. Also, you'll notice when you guys are, depending on what your majors are going to be down the road, even though I am not requiring an abstract for this research paper, but there will be times in your educational career, depending upon your major, that you will need that abstract. That's basically a summary of your paper in a couple paragraphs. So what I want you to do is get your notes in front of you, and how can you summarize that information? You only have like a paragraph, 2 tops. It should not be a page. So you want to look at and focus on the important information. It is a strict double space, so no single spacing. Again, please make sure before you set any of your format in that you've hit the no spacing button, and then you go in and you do your times New Roman 12. This is APA, So I'm looking at a cover page, I'm looking for a running header, and I'm also looking for a final reference page. And I'm going to do that purposely because I want to see how you're setting up your reference page for an APA document. What this does is it gives you multiple times that I'm looking at something and I'm editing it, so when you go back in and you're pulling that information up, if I've identified something that you need to look at, then you can fix it. By the time you submit your final draft, it's done. But I like to give opportunities as we're going along the way for you to be exposed to that, and then I'm able to edit it. So again, thank you for your patience, because as you can see, I am taking it very seriously, the work that you are submitting, and taking the time to really read it and edit it. Please take the time to read the edits. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to let me know. I think that's it for now. Please continue to keep up the good work. Do not forget that you have a discussion board this week. Well, you have a discussion board every week. Your first post is due by Wednesday evening, and then your 2 replies are due by Sunday evening. So also I will be adding in another discussion board that is kind of an open board. It is not graded. It is strictly there to really promote our online community and just to really answer questions and clarify some things for you guys. I will also be putting a copy of that MLA so you can see what the differences are. As we continue through this process, you will notice that my grading is going to become more stringent, because as we're talking and fine-tuning a lot of these things, I'm going to be expecting corrections. So I hope this is helpful. Have a great week, and I will be talking to you shortly. Oh, one last thing. Your proctor test is not this week. If you had read the announcements, it is next week, and I am going to have my own little video on what you guys need to do in order to set that up. As far as the information that is covered, it's only going to be the information that we're going to be covering for week 5. And then you will have another proctor test on week 10. So hope that's helpful. You guys have a great evening, and I look forward to continuing to read your work.